Hey everybody, Will Fix here. Got another video for you today. XRP, $10,000 price to $35,000 price. Let's take a look at this. So here on Crowd Wisdom, we have this article, XRP, $10,000 to $35,000. Is there a possibility? Let's see what they have to say about it. Ripple is constantly making headlines primarily due to the lawsuit filed by the SEC. However, an intriguing question that is being raised is, will XRP reach 10,000 or 35,000, and how long will it take to achieve the value? Current price, 47 cents. Trading volume, 1.1 billion, so that's higher than it has been. XRP trader sentiment, 65% say buy, 35% say sell. Might be a little bit of an indicator we're close to the bottom. XRP 10,000. Could Ripple reach 10,000? To reach 10,000 XRP, we need to rise 21,135. At 10,000, the target market cap would be approximately 556 trillion. If XRP were to rise at a pace of 25%, it would take approximately 45 years to reach 10,000. This is certainly not practical, they say. What does practical have to do with this? And I don't think they understand. There's something that we're going to talk about XRP that's different than any other coin. It's kind of a hard thing to navigate your mind through, but it's something that's completely different about XRP that's not like any other coin. And also, I want to say here, market cap is a BS number, okay? All they're doing is whatever the last price was of the coin times that, and then that's the market cap. Okay, so that's a very unrealistic number because it leaves the impression that the market cap amount of money has been poured into or is held in reserve somehow by the underlying stock or crypto coin. That's not what that is at all. That's a projected value times how many coins, this amount times that many coins would be if they all sold for this big giant market cap number. But that doesn't mean there's that much money in there. So every time somebody says, well, there's not $1 trillion to put into that to get it to that point, there doesn't have to be. That's not how that works. So that is a bad argument. It's also a bad argument. Right here, they said $556.18 trillion. It would have to rise 25% and take approximately 45 years. That's not how that works. Right now, if we shut every exchange down and said, put the next XRP up for sale for $1, and then all the exchanges ended up selling one. Okay, they sold one. Let's say they all sold one for $1. Instantly, the market cap would times how many XRP coin there are times $1 would be the market cap. But if there's 50 exchanges, let's say, but actually only $50 went into the coin. See my point? That's not a reflection. So I hate when they do these comparisons because that's always left out. There's another aspect on XRP that's completely different we're going to talk about here in just a second. To summarize, given the current price, market cap of 10,000, Ripple can't reach 10,000 even if Ripple investment cases are brilliant. On top of this, competition, regulatory conditions, and macroeconomic conditions would all act as barriers for Ripple to reach $10,000. Additionally, the XRP investment has been moderate in the last 12 months. Well, this isn't even true. What happened to Bitcoin? I mean, it was at pennies at one time, and now it's 60-something thousand dollars. Nobody got in the way, and if you multiply how many coins there are times 60-something thousand dollars, that's not how much money is in the system. The value of the entire system changes as people walk away from it. Right now, if everybody sold and it dropped down to a penny, they wouldn't get 67, let's say it's at $60,000. They wouldn't get $60,000 times how many coin there are. As the coin dropped, it would end up bottoming out at a zero, and you'd get a fraction of that amount. And it's the same thing when you're building, when you're going up. All of that money is not in that coin. It's a projected amount. It's really BS. It's not true at all. It's an estimation of as if all coins sold for that amount. That's what the market cap would be. So it's actually ignorant when I hear people say, well, it would require this many trillions of dollars to go into XRP in order for the price to be, and then they divide the coin and come up with the price. That's not how that works, man. You ever seen gaps? You know, you talk about, fill gaps. Usually if there's a gap up, they talk about there'll be a gap down the same size somewhere. It's generally true. That's just charting factors, and something that becomes true. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, as many people that believe it end up waiting for that to happen and almost fulfill it and pull out, because then they feel insecure, thinking, well, it gapped up and I made a lot, but I need to sell. So then if people sell, they put in their sell triggers, right? Sell if it drops below this much, and then guess what? They end up gapping down. So because there's no volume in between, if you gap up from this point and you gap up to here, and you had the volume on the side, well, there would be no volume for that gap because it happened all at once. So there's no support for that number. But, okay, so parting ways and leaving all that aside, this article says, however, there's a few factors to consider. If a large portion of the tokens were burnt, now it's going into that. If they had no regulatory challenges, we're soon to have that, where that's not going to be a problem. And a lot of people want to talk about that. Another thing I want to say is, if the United States is so dumb to just ruin this, let's say some terrible event happened, which I don't believe is going to happen, but let's say somehow they said, okay, XRP can't function within the United States. Is it over for XRP? Absolutely not. Here's a decent wallet ad. Hang in there with me. It's only like a minute and a half. And then after the ad, we're back to the $35,000 price prediction and how it is realistic. What is a self-custody wallet, and how do I take control of my crypto keys? Look at this summary. When a crypto user takes sole possession of their wallet's private keys, instead of trusting them to an exchange, they are self-custodying their assets. Security-conscious crypto users typically prefer self-custody because they can maintain total control over their funds, requiring no third-party involvement. Leveraging a self-custody wallet requires a bit of technical know-how and trust in yourself, and that's what you guys have, is technical know-how and trust. You know what the technical know-how is? Using your seed phrase and just keeping it safe. That's what that part is. So check this out. If you go straight to the Decent Wallet page, you can expect to pay for a single $119 instead of $159. But look at this. If you do a search on Google, you can still get it for $119 on Amazon, but $143 and $135 are some other prices you find them at. But look here at the bottom right, Will Fix exclusive discount page. That's what Decent Wallet gave me for the channel, which is only for me to offer to you. $109. That's without any sale going on. So go ahead and pick you one up. All of Japan's, I mean, you got so much mass adoption going on. What about the BRICS nations? What about, there's still tons of money, the money of Earth. The United States isn't the only one. Chad Steingraber, it should say, posts that XRP could hit 20,000 due to its deflationary nature, potential bank integration as a reserve currency. The expected bank hoarding, which could lower public supply and boost its price. He emphasizes XRP's unique features, limited supply deflationary aspect, and ability to issue assets like IOUs, and differentiates between circulating supply and market cap, determining the later as phantom money. He mentions that XRP's on-demand liquidity may not majorly affect its price, as it's meant for the smaller financial entities, not large banks. Steingraber speculates big banks might hold XRP as a reserve asset akin to gold, and could create a digital coins based on XRP's ledger, establishing XRP as a key global financial asset. He also discussed a potential XRP scarcity as banks accumulate it, leading to a business dependency, and foresees significant market value impact once institutions fully assimilate XRP into their systems. All right, so let's skip up here, and I might skip through. We're already at 11 minutes. I'll try to go quick. I got a couple very strong points to make and a couple little videos that support how people are thinking this way. And how much does that matter, that people think XRP will go up to that? It matters a lot, actually. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, isn't it? Self-fulfilling prophecy. People believe it, they'll allow it to go there. So there'll be many people choosing not to sell off, things like that. Anyway, Ripple 35,000. Will XRP reach 35,000? I actually don't like their description here. I don't want to read it and have to combat it. I think that they're way off base in how they're discerning how this goes. Will XRP never reach 35,000? And what they're saying, it'll never such a higher market cap in trillions. Apple's valued at $3 trillion today. It says they'll never reach 35,000. They obviously don't understand how this thing works, and we're going to talk about that because it's different than other assets and other coins. XRP 10,000 to 35,000, is there a possibility? Yes, XRP 10 to 35,000 is possible only if a large portion of XRP tokens are destroyed. Not true. So this article didn't piece it together. So what is the truth about going to 10 to 35,000? Is it a possibility? I believe this article here is false. Now let's look at a couple other people that have looked at this and see what they say. The video I wanted to find, I did find, and it's on the Wall Street Bulls page. He looks like he's got a pretty good page, and he has this snippet, and it was in a better quality than one of the other videos of this particular little piece that I found. And Val Hill Capital. Okay, so let's look and see what they say.
A month after regulation.
Yeah. So we believe that the last domino to fall on regulation right now is the SEC lawsuit, and that could be resolved in a variety of ways, but it could also be resolved in regulation coming in over the top. We know it's imminent, though, right? So when I say imminent, I would be surprised if a quarter from now we're really still embroiled in the SEC lawsuit, because I think the state of affairs throughout the world is such that we're going to need a solution like an XRP for liquidity purposes sooner rather than later. So the question is then, okay, we've magically resolved it. Where does the price go? It's easy to project that it's a double-digit number. So I think it immediately shoots up to a $10, potentially $20. The wild card to me is that there is actually a deal to be done among the central banks and governments to basically have XRP work as the world's bridge currency, a neutral asset that can be traded between the central banks to move a specific type of fiat to another type of fiat. If that's what occurs, it's back to what we were discussing earlier. It's got to cover kind of all the money. And I think you're looking at a range that XRP would settle on agreement. So this would happen instantaneously somewhere between $10,000 and $35,000 a coin. And our lives will be, maybe the same, maybe different. I don't know. Probably a little different.
Here's Lewis Jackson covering some of the same thing, and he had uncovered some things that really blew him away. Look what he has to say.
When I understood this about XRP, my brain exploded. It literally exploded. I went to bed last night and I didn't sleep for 2 hours, just lying there, just me being excited about the bag that I hold in XRP. So the big question is, how does XRP go from where we are today to the price where it becomes viable as a payment currency, as that intermediary exchange currency? Because if institutions are spending huge amounts of money and they only have the XRP for 4 seconds, how is the price going to maintain a level? This is a two-part answer. The first part of the answer tackles the everyday human and how the everyday human will use Ripple technology. So with the way that XRP works is that it's a very quick transaction of money from one currency to another. When we have achieved that high price tag for XRP, it becomes viable as a currency for literally everyone. Basically anything you do, from how your salary is paid to how you pay salaries, to how you pay the florist down the road, or how you buy a chocolate eclair from a baker's. If you're American, you're going to have to Google a chocolate eclair, but they're amazing. And we'll be able to transact on an everyday basis using XRP and the Ripple technology without really even knowing it. Consumers don't need to know that stuff because all the stuff that happens that is of importance to the institutions happens behind the scenes. Because, and this is part two, the way that the price goes from where it is today to where it needs to be is because it pays institutions to use XRP that they already hold to create cheaper transactions in the future. So let me clear this up. We've got Uber, for example. Uber are settling payments all over the world. This is going to get so technical. I'm not even sure I fully understand it, but I got it enough to understand where this is going. Uber drivers all around the world are completing trips, getting paid, getting reviewed. Completing trips, getting paid, getting reviewed. Maybe they get reviewed before they get paid. I don't know. So how it works right now is that the bank has to do all these payments in the traditional way, even cross-border. Oftentimes they'll be working with banks in the local region to make those payments. Either way, the payments are costly and they're slow. And for a thing like Uber, and especially for Uber drivers, for example, Uber drivers want to be paid quickly. When you're an Uber driver, you're working hard to make not a lot of money. I mean, you can make decent money at being an Uber driver. And so due to the nature of the people that are working for Uber and getting paid from Uber, it is more useful to the driver and to the institution, Uber, to pay their drivers quicker. And those drivers are in basically almost every large city around the world, in all the currencies. So what Uber will do is they will buy a huge amount of XRP below market value. How they do that is they basically buy XRP earlier. They would have bought a huge amount of XRP to help settle those payments that they would make all across the world, and the fees would be significantly cheaper because they already own the XRP. They're not paying fees turning their currency into XRP every single time. They already own a huge amount of XRP, and so they pay half the fees, and the fees are already cheap. And so due to the nature of this, it requires institutions and central banks to own huge amounts of XRP because it makes more financial sense to hold huge amounts and pay half the fees. And there's something else I haven't quite got my head around yet, but they pay half the fees because they essentially wait for someone who's sending XRP and they receive the XRP and provide the XRP as liquidity for the fees. I'm not sure I quite understand that, but there are other reasons why institutions and large companies would hold huge amounts of XRP to settle payments. That's how the price gets to these astronomical numbers, because twofold. Institutions need to hold huge amounts of XRP to make it even more beneficial, even more cost effective. In addition, the purchase of all those XRP tokens will lift the price higher and higher, and they're holding those tokens. They're not just used for 4 seconds, they're holding because if the world operates using this Ripple technology, which it very well could, even if it operates at 10% of the institutions around the world operate with Ripple, the prices are massive. Companies will simply need to hold XRP to settle transactions from those who are using Ripple technology around the world. So it's almost created this system where you cannot not be involved with the Ripple technology in some way in order to settle payments from people who are using Ripple technology. Even if you aren't using Ripple technology, you need to hold XRP to settle those payments for half the cost, right? Who in their right mind is going to settle payments the old way if everyone else is doing it for half price? It makes complete sense to switch over. I've just dumped loads of information onto you, and this leads me to the next video that we'll have to get into. And this is a huge question that I now have, which you also may have after knowing all of this. If the price is going to be lifted by companies buying huge amounts of XRP, why aren't they doing it already? It's a massive question. It's one that I currently have that I'm endeavoring to get answered. I'm trying to get this answered. I'm trying to do my research and figure out why they're not doing it. The only thing I can think of right now is that this Ripple SEC court case is having a massive impact on the price. There's so many ways it can go if that is the avenue of thought, but I wanted to put that question out there, and that will be the title of the next video that I follow along with in this series.
So one of the things you run into is that old flip of the switch. That's why a lot of people believe it'll be a sudden increase. There's the other aspect of XRP that's a little different. It's another one that's kind of hard to wrap your brain around because it's so different. And I came up with an analogy the best I could. Imagine you had, for instance, let's say 5 garden hoses that come into one garden hose, and they're all 1-inch garden hoses. The 5 that go into the one are, let's say, they're non-flexible. In other words, that's going to represent the flow of money from a bank, and so it's going to be pretty limited on how much is going to be coming through that pipeline because they're limited in how much money that they move on a daily basis. So you got 5 of these going into another 1-inch hose, which is the XRP system. So the entire system is represented by that hose. Well, let's say that hose is extremely flexible. So it can expand 5-10 times larger, no problem. Doesn't stress the system. Well, when you turn one of these hoses on, it goes through there really well, doesn't it? So let's say it's not at full volume, and let's say it's at half. Then the second hose is at half volume. Well, now that center hose is going to need to stretch if something else happens. So suddenly the 3rd, 4th, and 5th hose come on, and at full strength, at full volume. What's going to happen to the center hose? It's going to grow, right? It's going to have to. To be able to accommodate the money, it's going to have to grow. Well, there's only so many XRP, and you got so many of them that are held by you and me in wallets, that are in AMM, that are held by institutions, held by people, or half of them are in an escrow account. You have all of these that aren't being utilized, and they're not for sale. Then you have the ones available on the exchanges, where exchanges have purchased XRP to sell. Those are the ones that are available, okay? Now, I'm sure XRP, Ripple is making deals to be able to release coin to different companies other than going just strictly to an exchange. But still, so how many XRP are there? Well, y'all have heard me say this before. If there's only 250 billion or half a billion, if they're worth $1, they can move a half a billion. But what if in the system there's shoved 1 trillion? Well, it's going to have to grow, isn't it? And it just will. It will, because that money is shoved in there. And so we interpret it, this is hard to interpret, we interpret it as buying and selling XRP like it's a stock, and that price demand is that way. But that's really not how it works. When you shove all of that money in XRP, it has to expand. So really, an XRP token is kind of like a train cart. Right now, you open up them huge doors, and there's what? Almost 50 cents there. And there's all that room. Well, when you shove a bunch of money in it, when banks are sending money every day, and that bank's sending money back, and then they're accumulating Nostro, Vostro accounts for settlement, and they're not going to exchange it into whatever currency every second, that they're not going to get it in 3 seconds and then change it right away into a fiat currency. That's not going to happen that way. There's going to be settlement. They may need to send some of that money straight back out to somebody else. So then they got to have some accounting. It's got to go from a Nostro to a Vostro, or a Vostro to a Nostro, in order for it to be sent out, unless they have stacks of money there. So to be fast transactions, they're going to still have money in their Vostro Nostro accounts. So they're going to have a reserve of XRP. They're also going to put XRP on their balance sheets. There's tons of XRP needed in order to move money. Now, when tons are needed to move the money, the ones that are actually moving the money, because you got piles of it here, Nostro Vostro accounts and wallets, and you got all this XRP that's out of circulation, well, then you only have so much in circulation. So those obviously have to be big enough to move the volume of money. So the value of the ones that are stored in your wallet go up because these go up. So it operates a little bit different than just buying and selling coins like some of these other coins. That is the mystery of how XRP can go to 10, 35,000, because it's not how people are trying to perceive it within this box, and XRP functions outside of that box. That's how I see it. What do you think? Put a 1 if I made this clear. Put a 2 if I didn't, because we might need to cover some of this again. I'm not trying to clickbait you on 10,000, 35,000, but I do want to explain it. And I did want to cover what some people say and what some other people say, and kind of see if I can't, pull all this together and get a little bit of truth. So there you have the truth about the ability of XRP to go up into the $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 range. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe. This is the end of the video. I'll see you next time.